Yo, what's going on, guys? The Auction Biker here. So basically what's happening today is I am out test riding the 2020 BMW R1250 GS. So if that's something you're interested in finding out more about, stick around, stay tuned, and we'll get cracked on. So I've never actually ridden a GS before. Seems pretty cool, to be fair. We're now in the national speed limit areas as well, so that helps. Overall, it feels like a similar seating position to the Tiger. I'm going to try not to compare the two as much because obviously this is a more powerful bike. It's slightly different. If I was to compare, I'd have to take out the F800 or the F850. So we'll run through some specs with you. It is quite a lot different to the previous 1200 version. So it now produces 136 horsepower, and that's at 7,750 RPM, so it's quite high in the rev range because it red lines at 9. It now produces 105 Newton meters of torque, which I believe is a 13 or 18 Newton meter increase on the previous version. And it's got what they're calling the shift cam technology. So basically they've adjusted the cams so that they now have a low lobe and a high lobe, high lift lobe and a low lift lobe, sorry. So depending on your throttle and obviously how you're riding, it'll switch between the two. If you're giving it full beans and you're riding around racing pretty much, then it'll put you on the high lift lobe. There's just loads on it. It's full of tech. Obviously the phone's mine. I'm using the Kali Moto app at the minute, so that's why I put the mount on there. Overall, the seating position feels fairly comfortable. Similar sort of position to the Tiger that I've got. But I'm not going to compare the two because they are two different bikes. I do love the TFT dash that BMW has come with. Very informative. Loads of buttons. So you've got the jog dial thingy bob that obviously does what it needs to do. I don't quite know just yet. You've got a menu button, so you go through options. It tells you the actual total mileage of the bike, the trip mileage, your miles per gallon, goes through the time, tyre pressures, all that sort of stuff. So it is very informative, to be fair. There's certain stuff on there I would say that you don't need. So we'll get it back to how much fuel we've got. So we've got 52 miles of fuel left. It's got an adjustable screen up and down. You adjust that with that knob there. I've got it in highest setting at the moment just because I can't bother to change it. Mirrors, I guess they could do with being a little bit more, have a bit more visibility. So what we'll do, we'll adjust the suspension. We'll have it in road mode. So it's been in dynamic. We'll switch it to road. It should soften it up a little bit. So yeah, the main dial, it's got all your idiot lights. Obviously you've got your high beam, low beam. It's got the outside air temperature, your current riding modes, obviously your rev counter. It's got a gear indicator and the time. There are other menus. It tells you a lot more information, but there's far too many. I don't want to look through them while I'm riding. As an extra, you can get this SOS button. Basically, it's in case you ever come into any trouble, you press that and it dials through to a BMW call centre. So we'll not be pressing that by mistake today. You can adjust the riding modes. So I'm in dynamic at the moment. You've got Enduro on this particular one anyway. You've got Enduro, Rain, Road and Dynamic. So the guy at BMW said keep it in Dynamic. You can swap it if you want, but it's probably the best for the road at the minute. If it was raining, I'd have tested the rain mode, but it's not, so I'm not. Brakes, very good. Make sure there's no behind me. It stops very well. What's the back brake like? ABS kicks in pretty quick, to be fair, so it's probably a good brake, but a little bit too strong perhaps. Oh, that quick shifter. Woo! So it has got up and down quick shifter. It's the shift assist that BMW have created. Oh, we'll not get into too much trouble. We'll wait till we're in the Nationals. Oh, this is awesome. Whether it's kicked in or not, I don't know, but I can't seem to feel the shift cam technology. So what is it like to ride? Ignore the specs. What is it like to ride as a bike? Because it could have 1,000 horsepower, but if it's rubbish to ride, then it's pointless. So, I mean, I've got it in road mode at the minute, and the riding mode is dynamic. Slow it down to 40. It's a fairly comfortable ride. The ride itself, suspension-wise, feels soft, but the seat, I've been on it probably half an hour, if that. The seat feels rather stiff on the edges. Maybe just because it's a new bike, I don't know. Would I get used to it? Just feels a little bit stiff. Seating position, so comfort of the seat, not the best, but the suspension probably makes up for it. The seating position itself, as I said, it feels very similar to the Tiger. My arms are bent slightly. My knees, I think my knees are probably bent a little bit more than they are on the Tiger, to be fair, so it's more of an acute angle. There's not a lot of, I wouldn't say there's a lot of wind noise. The screen is in its highest position. Oh, position. So the screen's currently in its highest position, and I can't really feel a lot of wind noise. Can't really feel a lot of wind, sorry, and there's not a lot of wind noise. There's a little bit of wind on my shoulders and the top of my chest, but around the helmet it feels fairly clear. So riding it around on the country roads feels pretty good, to be fair. It's although it's a big heavy adventure bike, I think it can keep its own. It'll give pretty much anything a run for its money with the right rider on it. It's fairly comfortable. It's quite agile as well, so you can't really feel the weight of it. It's a big heavy bike. I think it's about 285 kilograms, if I'm honest. I'll put it on screen anyway, so if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, apologies. It's quite a big heavy bike, but you can't really feel it. Even when it's even when you're at a standstill. Even when you're at a standstill, you can't feel it. It's probably because of the boxer engine. It's got a lower centre of gravity. So the low centre of gravity obviously helps it. It's weightless. When you sat still, you can definitely feel the side-to-side shake of the big boxer engine. And it rides fairly smooth as well. It tracks pretty well. So yeah, once you're riding, you can't feel the shake, but once you're sat at traffic lights, it does have a bit of a wobble, which I guess you'd get used to it. So we're about to see what it's like to ride through a town. The lovely little village of Malton. And most new bikes these days have got fly-by-wire throttles and a hydraulic clutch, and it's you can definitely tell that it's there because there's just no pressure at all. It takes nothing to press the clutch in, or pull the clutch in, should I say. We're not going to be filtering down there. So I've found sometimes the quick shifter doesn't want to work at low speeds. I don't know if it's a common thing with BMWs or whether it's just this one. It doesn't seem to. It seems to go up okay, but the downshifting doesn't seem to want to work properly. So at that speed it seems fine, but it's when you come into a slow stop it don't want to work. Maybe it's not designed for that, I don't know. So as I said, it's a very nimble and very agile bike. Literally weightless. You can throw it around like it's a little Z750 or something. So, do I like the bike? As a bike to ride, I'm going to say yes, it's awesome. The only thing I'm wary about, now it's something that I've spotted because of the work that I do, but I'll have to find out if it's been improved or not. On previous well, basically any BMW previously suffers with some little niggly bits on the quality side. I think reliability wise and rideability, you can't fault this bike. It's just, well, it's awesome. It does absolutely everything, and it's good at most things. Now the niggly bits that I've noticed are, when we've been valeting the bikes, we get quite a lot of BMWs in, to be fair. So when we're valeting them, the bottom forks, the fork stanchion at the bottom, where the bit that your caliper bolts to, we notice that it suffers with staining. We don't know what causes it. Maybe it's just dirt on the road, and whether it's the paint that reacts or not, I don't know. But it only ever seems to be BMW that suffers with it. Because of the silver paint that they use, you notice it fairly quickly. And we've used a wide range of cleaning products. I mean, we do valeting for a business, so we've got some fairly good cleaning stuff, and it can't seem to get the staining off. So if I was to buy one, I'd want to know that that's not going to happen. And another thing that we've noticed, this one's not got it, but the pannier racks that you get, obviously for the aluminium luggage, we've noticed that they start to rust. It's the welds. The welds start to rust fairly quickly as well. Whether that's just down to how the bikes are tread, or whether it is the quality, because it's been seen on like I said, a fair few bikes now. Just little niggly bits. You get bits of corrosion, like the paint flakes off on the front of the engine. The paint starts flaking off. Now, do you really want that on a brand new bike? It's obviously caused by the heat of the engine and maybe gravel and stuff flicking up. But when you've got a brand new bike, you don't expect it to happen, and especially when you're paying as much as you do for these. So the overall answer is yes, I would have one, as long as the faults have been fixed. If not, then I won't touch it. I'll stick with the Tiger, because although it's a different bike, my 2011 Tiger has done 20,000 miles, and there's not one spot of rust on it anywhere. No corrosion, nothing. But will BMW fix it? Because the bike's that good at most things. If I was to buy this and it was absolutely perfect, you had no corrosion, no paint flaked off or anything, you wouldn't ever have to go back and buy another one. So, is it done on purpose so that things do go wrong? I don't know. But that's not a fault with the bike. That's, well, it is a fault with the bike, but it's more of a fault that BMW are causing. So it can shift. And the brakes are really good as well. So what's it like to filter with? Oh, let's have a look. Because there's plenty of traffic to filter through here coming into York. Could probably do with a louder exhaust. Could probably do with a louder exhaust, but once you get going, it's got actually quite a nice tone to it. You just need something a bit louder to help you get through traffic. Now you've got something hanging off your tyre, friend. Quite a lot of engine braking on it, obviously, because it's a twin. Although it's a boxer, it's still a twin. This is everybody going away for the weekend, I believe. Thank you. Okay, so that is the 2020 BMW R1250 GS. I just want to say a massive thanks to Barry Robson BMW in York for lending me the bike and giving me the opportunity to do it. If you want to check them out, you'll find the link to their website in the description below. So yeah, let me know what you thought, guys. That's obviously one of the main test rides I've ever done, so don't forget to hit the like button, or hit the dislike button, but make sure you leave a comment to let me know why you don't like it. And just general questions, leave in the comments section below. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and as always, ride safe, keep the sticky side down, and until next time, I love you all.